Hello everyone, how are we doing? We should be live. We're a bit late as well, aren't we? We're a little bit late. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if everything's okay. Welcome back to the Unfan Podcast. We should all be ready to go. I'm just making sure we've got everything going on here. If you can hear me, I think we all should be ready to go. Hopefully you're having a good Friday night. It's a Friday night stream. Here we go. Hello. Everyone's coming in. If the camera gets a little bit up and down, then just give us a shout. We'll change over a different camera angle. But you can see and you can hear me, and that's the main thing. Welcome back. Sorry a little bit late. Laundry is the reason. It's a poor excuse, isn't it? But first time using the washing machines at the accommodation, and I didn't know that it takes absolutely ages. So that is the excuse there. We've got a few people watching and already in here. I haven't had time to post it everywhere, so if you can sort of retweet it. I haven't actually tweeted it, so just tweet it. That'd be amazing. And let's get this out. Of course, this is going to be a little bit of a double header of Sky Bet League One action. We're going to be talking about last Tuesday because we didn't get around to do a roundup, and then we'll be looking ahead to the games tomorrow. Of course, it's Friday, which means we've got some big games of football. And I'm really excited to sort of break it down and look ahead, preview and predict. Land of the Cat says hello, Jack. UT says hello. Lepsy says hi. Andy Shippers, Derby to lose to Bristol tomorrow. Interesting call there. Shirley says big love, Sophie March. UT says love the content, keep it up. David Jones says Yodu, big game Saturday for you at our place. I'm going Bolton 2, Oxford 1. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Of course, we'll be breaking down all of these games. Andy says evening or Shelley Amp Cambridge says MK Dons 3, Derby County 2. Damon Youth says let's go. And of course, Tom from 4-0 written all over it. He doesn't miss a stream, or he tells me he doesn't miss a stream. He probably does. We all love Tom. He'll be back on the channel very soon. We've got, of course, our review that I'm really looking forward to do with Tom. He says Oxford might have won another home game by the time this starts. I don't know about that, Tom. We might have to be waiting a little bit longer than that. I think I might have to postpone the stream if we want to win at home game. You never know. What's the Cheltenham ground like? I know the away end, it's a fairly small away end, but, you know, it's a nice, tidy little ground. If you just joined us, please leave a like. Of course, it's free to do so. And, of course, if you could, subscribe if you're new as well. Let's get into it because we've got a lot of games to delve into. So, we're going to move over to this screen here, and then we'll move over to this one here. That should all be okay. If things get a little bit dodgy, because sometimes I haven't actually streamed in the accommodation where I'm now living, so the Wi-Fi is being put to the test, and we've also, of course, got to hope that the laptop and everything all stays in good nick with the change in transition, which isn't always a guarantee. If you could just let me know if everything's still okay. I'm watching it back here. It seems to be all right at the moment, but things can change quickly. If you know, you know. Right, let's start off then. Let's have a little reflection. We shouldn't look forward until we reflect. Of course, we normally do 4 games. We might do more. I've got the live chat in front of me, so sort of give me what you want to do, and you know, and we can sort of go from there. Bristol Rovers to get promoted. That's a bit of a big call, but again, they're doing okay at the moment. Not a little good run, aren't they? Joey Barton's side. Not quite sure who Jimmy Barton is. Let's start off with where should we start? Well, actually, I know it's not. We don't normally touch on 0-0s, but Derby County versus Exeter. That's a really good point for Exeter on the road. Of course, new managers come through the door. Matt J, of course, went to Rotherham, and I think this was always going to be quite a challenge for Exeter to deal with a very new manager. And what I mean by that is, of course, a manager in Matt Taylor they had for a long time. How was that going to be, and how is that going to change? It took a while for them to appoint a new manager. They have gone and done that. And, I mean, for a first game, away from home to Derby at Pride Park, that's not an easy place to go. They didn't, dominate the game. They weren't, the forward-thinking side in terms of the way that they came forward. But, would you ever expect that to be the case? Exeter are never going to probably go to Derby and dominate them from the start until the end. But they held strong, and defensively they sort of stayed in a really compact way. And they stopped Derby from sort of gaining any type of, I'd say rhythm. They gained a little bit of attacking rhythm, but they didn't really get going, did they, Derby? And they weren't able to take the chances. In terms of statistics they did have shots. They had 10-3 on there. And then, of course, 4-1. So, look, they weren't, like I say, the attacking dominant force against Derby. But, again, they had to hold strong, and they did. Looking at the other games as well, I want to touch on this game here because a bit of a surprise result. Cambridge not in brilliant form recently. They started the season really well. Mark Bonner, the legend that is Mark Bonner, we all know how much of a legend he is on the channel. He's never been on the channel. He doesn't probably know who I am whatsoever, but we like him, and I think he's a really, really good manager who is doing really good things at Cambridge, even though their recent run hasn't been amazing. Let's click on the game to get a little bit more detail on it. You can see we're looking at the league table. They were sort of in and around that top six in the sort of the early parts of the season, and you can actually look by looking at this recent form. Where is it? Just down here, I think, isn't it? Yeah, here it is. Here, quite a few losses on the trot. I think it was 5 losses on the bounce. It was a pretty frustrating time for them, but that win now does end that sort of losing streak. Now on 19 points from 16 games, still 16th in the table, and where you think they were at the start of this, start of the campaign, that it will be frustrating. And of course, Mark Bonner's job is to try and gain and regain, should I say, that control and picking up points mentality that they were doing so easily at the start of the season. But things can change, and players can, of course, go in and out of form, and they sort of hit quite a rut. But back to winning ways against Wycombe. Not an easy place to go. If you're a League One fan or have been for a little while, you know going to Adams Park is not a nice place to go, especially on a Tuesday night. That can be a real challenge. And Wycombe, no surprise of the way they set up a 3 at the back with those wing backs, with Sam Vokes leading the line. It's a strong Wycombe side, really. A few players missing still. Tafazoli's still out injured, and of course he's that real centre half that is that base of Wycombe Wanderers. But you sort of moved your way forward. They've still got the players like Joe Jacobson, who I actually had the pleasure to speak to quite recently. Went to the game, their Papa John's game against Peterborough United, and he spoke really well. Oxford have got a little bit of a rivalry with Wycombe. They're quite local, you'd say, so maybe on a more geographical way there is a little bit of a rivalry. But in terms of course, the footballing side of things, we played them at Wembley in the playoff final a couple of years ago, and they beat us with about 30% possession. So there's a little bit of a rivalry there. But at the same time, you have to respect what Gareth Ainsworth has done. You can't really respect Gareth Ainsworth for the result though on Tuesday night, losing at home to Cambridge, and they were 3-1 down at one point. They only got a consolation goal back through Lewis Wing in the 7th minute of injury time. Wycombe had their spells. You can see, Cambridge scored really early on, then 1-1 at half time. No, I think it was 2 at half time. Scored really late on, didn't they? Yeah, in the first minute of injury time, Jack Lancaster makes it 2-1 to the away side. And then second half much more even. You said the first sort of 10 minutes, Cambridge actually sort of went at Wycombe. Then Wycombe got real control in the game and looked really good going forward. Got their goal, and then really against the run of play just before half time, the perfect time to score. People would say it's a cliche in football, but I think we can all agree scoring just before half time, it changes the team talk. It changes the way that you do approach the team talk for those managers, and the second half is now set up very differently. You go from, in the case of Wycombe and Cambridge, in this one, you go from drawing the game, Cambridge go and score. That changes the game plan completely. How does Gareth Ainsworth react in the second half? Well, actually, weirdly enough, you thought Wycombe would really come up quite strong. Of course, now being down at half time, Cambridge, they came out the stronger side, and actually had some really good spells, because Wycombe also did have a moment, and then just the 70th minute, I presume, just after that, actually the 77th minute, Lloyd Jones makes it 3-1. That does feel like a really big goal in the game. No surprise with the way that Mark Bonner's side set up in that 4-2-3-1. It's what he does best. He loves that double pivot of Paul Digby. Not normally Lewis Simper, who did have a good game in the game. It's normally May, isn't it? May and Digby in that double pivot, and then you work your way forward into that sort of front three. Again, looking very different. Normally, you sort of have Sam Smith there. He didn't get a game or actually play any part in the match, and you also normally have Jack Lancaster, can play in that in those forward areas. Came on and scored a really really important goal, didn't he? He actually came on in the 25th minute due to an injury, so he did play a big part. Probably didn't think about it at the start of the game when he was on the bench, but of course he came into the side through injury and. Did a good job and scored a very important goal. But a surprise for Wycombe, and that does mean now after that result, they're now 13th in the league. Still quite hot and cold for Wycombe Wanderers. It's not normally the way they like to start their season. It normally is quite a stable early part. Try and gain real consistency early doors. That's what Gareth Ainsworth wants from his side. They're not able to this season. 7 defeats, 6 wins, 2 draws, 20 goals scored and 20 goals conceded. We speak about how Gareth Ainsworth, sort of the first thing he tries to do, and he even said it himself when I spoke to him and Joe Jacobson. They said that building from the back is so important for them. Really gaining that spine, and don't have to have the majority of the ball. They're not a real possession-based style. The counter-attacking can work for them. They can play quite direct. They can play quite long. But at the same, but things can work, and we can speak about how. I'm just making sure everything should be okay. I think everything is still working okay. Just let me know. I've just got a message from Tom, so that scares me a little bit. No, he sent me a message, and thankfully it's not him telling me that my stream is broken. That's a relief. Just making sure we're catching up on all of these chats. By the way, we've got so many people in here right now. Sophie March says, Sophie March, marry me. Plymouth and Bolton will get promoted Wednesday. Haven't got a great manager, sorry to say. Of course, we're talking about Darren Moore there. Peterborough just don't have what it takes, and Portsmouth don't have a depth in squad. League One way too strong for Bristol this year. Good win for us. W for Cambridge. I went to the game. Lepsy, you were at the game, mate. Tell me what was going on there, because you like you say, you were seeing that firsthand with your own eyes. How did you make that? How did you see that game pan out? Because to me, a brilliant result for Cambridge, and one that I don't think they would have expected. 13th now for Wycombe, 16th now for Cambridge. Let's move on to the next one. Don't think the table's right. Sometimes it isn't, so I do apologise for that. Sometimes I do get it a little bit wrong. Let's just quickly go to the League One table through this one, because it's sometimes just before a match day or after a match day, it sort of gets a little bit confusing when they try and update it. So let's look at this. They might not be 13th. Wycombe are 13th. The positions are right for those two teams, but maybe there's a couple up there that are a little bit wrong. But there we go. That's the league table there. Yeah, Devon Derby predictions. We'll come on to that in just a second. We're just sort of rounding up a little bit of the games at the moment, so we won't be too far away from that. If someone could do me a massive favour, in fact, no, don't worry. I was going to say someone could tweet it out, but I haven't actually tweeted it, so that I can't. So I can't get anyone to retweet it. That's me not being very prepared. I do apologise. Right, let's move on then. Let's go to the next game. Only do a couple more, because Tuesday was quite a good set of fixtures, actually, for a Tuesday night. And sometimes I try and put I'm not going to say the not so attractive games, but there was actually some really big fixtures on Tuesday. They don't normally put sort of big derby games or anything like that. Of course, we've got the Devon derby on Monday between Exeter and Plymouth Argyle. I really look forward to that. I'll be watching it. It's live on Sky Sports on Monday, so that's going to be really fascinating. Let's touch on Charlton, and I also don't need to touch on Oxford. By the way, my Oxford United versus Portsmouth match reaction, it's got its own video for that, so I won't be talking about it now, but there is a video on that, and you can watch that solely on the channel on its own. Right, I want to get two more in. I want to talk about Sheffield Wednesday versus Bristol Rovers, because that is that's an interesting result, and one that Bristol Rovers was certainly very, very happy with. I spoke to I spoke to a couple of Bristol Rovers fans and read a few things of what they said on the Discord server, and also, of course, we know that One Rovers Vlogs. I don't think he did a video. He's not sort of producing the content at the moment, I believe, but he is coming back, is what we've been told. And, I saw sort of his Instagram post about the game. Bristol, and also, by the way, if you haven't seen Joe Barton's, he actually sort of posted, I think it was on Instagram, he posted sort of the tactics, or the mentality that he wanted to play, sort of to go in with, going into this game. It was really fascinating. And one thing I will say is that against what people would probably think, they actually tried to go and win the game at Hillsborough, and that's not easy, and that's not normally a mentality that we expect from these sort of sides. You go to Hillsborough, you try and play quite a low block, you try and play quite a deep line, which some people say is quite naive, because they've got players that can really take advantage of the fact that if you do play quite a low block, they can play in behind, they can play over the top and expose you with that sort of low, or invite the pressure, really, can't you? You can invite the pressure with that low block. Whether you play a high line, you can be exposed to the ball over the top. They actually played a bit of a risk in the fact that they did play with quite a forward-thinking mentality, and you can't really say it didn't work. Michael Smith scored just before half-time to make it 1-0, and then the hour mark, Josh Coburn makes it 1-1, and that's how the game finishes. Of course, this game was on Sky as well. You can see by sort of breaking down the game, first off, Sheffield Wednesday sort of in control, and when they did go forward, they did look fairly good. Bristol did have their moments, but nothing really to shout and scream about. And then Sheffield Wednesday, they knocked and finally got their goal in the first half, just before half time. They do make it 1-0. Then moving into the second half, you can see slightly more even. I mean, the second half's quite fascinating, isn't it? It sort of starts off with Bristol Rovers actually coming out the stronger side, which is quite rare, really, considering they were, well, maybe not. Maybe going 1-0 down, Joe Barton's giving a little bit kick up the backside and get out there and really show your worth. But at the same time, Sheffield Wednesday the home side, and you thought the quality that they've got, they try and start quite strong. They did then sort of get back into the game, and then really good spell on the hour mark, and it's converted by Bristol Rovers. He does, Josh Coburn, make it 1-1. That's the equalising goal. 54% possession. Look, Sheffield Wednesday had the majority of the shots, 22 shots to 10. 6 on target's not great, though, and that's a little bit of a problem for me. I think when you have 22 shots on target, you do need to do, you need to do more with it. 6 on target from 22 is poor. You look at the shots off target, 10 from 22 off target is not a very nice statistic, and 6 on target from those total of 22 efforts. That's a problem for me. Seven corners, a couple of offsides, but nothing else really to sort of be, nothing to highlight that sort of shouts as a problem or as a real positive. I mean, they dominated the ball and they did have shots, but in terms of the clinical edge of those shots, they weren't brilliant. Pass accuracy for both sides is sort of hitting that 70th mark, or 70% mark, just a little bit more for home side Sheffield Wednesday. Back-to-back draws for them now, and this is fascinating, really. I'm interested to see what sort of Sheffield Wednesday fans have got to say about it, because I always do. Well, I'm always intrigued to see what Sheffield Wednesday and how they're feeling. When we do it live, we do get the opportunity to do it. Jake Tong says, "Evening, Jack. Hope you're well. Up the Imps, Jake. Hope you're doing well." Of course, Jake is. I hope this is the right Jake. I believe it is. From a Stacey West podcast, Lincoln City supporter. Great content surrounding the Imps. Definitely go and check him out. Shelley says, "Take over MK Dons." I think Bannon smashed it away over 40 yards like 5 times, inflating the stats. Well, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really inflate the stats. It inflates the total shots, but it's very, very clear to see with the 6 on target. They weren't very clinical. Hello, how are we? This is Alex. I'm doing very well. Carl out, Jack in. Of course, if you join the Discord server, you'll know what that's all about. Of course, I'm taking over Carl Robinson at Oxford United on Football Manager at the moment. Really looking forward to that. An exclusive Discord server save. You can join the Discord server with a link in the description. How we spoke about Exeter, I'm a bit late on the motorway. Don't worry, we've spoke briefly about their draw against Derby. We haven't looked ahead to their game against Plymouth, a big game in that one. The Wednesday fan who collapsed on Wednesday night was discharged from hospital today. That's great news. I was taught. Really good news to see that he's left hospital. I didn't actually know there was an incident in the crowd, which is something that we probably should have mentioned, but I wasn't aware of that. And to see that he's been discharged from hospital today is very good news. So thank you very much, Al's Talk, for that update. If you're at the game, do sort of let me know sort of how it felt for Sheffield Wednesday. Would you say you deserve to win it? I'd say you probably deserve to. Well, it's tough, isn't it? When you do have that many shots but don't really take advantage, it's not easy. Barry Bannon got an 8.3. I'm not quite sure how he did that. I guess he didn't even get the assist or the goal. I know Michael Smith got it. He didn't get the assist. Michael Smith, of course, started up front in that quite narrow sort of front three of Josh Winner just behind those two strikers. They got the width through Marvin Johnson and Liam Palmer. Really good result of Bristol Rovers. They went to Hillsborough against the odds and got the victory. So fair play to them. And congratulations, Joe Barton, because that's going to be certainly when they look back on and go, that could be massive. We didn't look at the league table, but it's all right because we can look over at this screen here. After that win, Bristol Rovers are now 14th in the league, but that recent run is looking really, really promising. Unbeaten in their last 5. 5 wins, 5 draws, and 6 losses. This is really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. You said Wednesday didn't deserve to win. I don't think they deserve to win purely by the fact that they weren't very good in front of goal. The game was terrific. Rovers deserved the point, if not more. Yeah, I definitely think Rovers deserved something from the match, the way that they sort of went at Sheffield Wednesday during the 90. Barely anyone played well. The stats flatter us. I think the stats are very, very flatterous towards the fact that you did have efforts. Whether or not they were actually any good efforts is a different story completely. By the way, if you can hear fireworks, it's because... I'm not quite sure why there is, because my window's open and someone's thinking it's a good idea to interrupt the stream. I don't know what he's doing. He's clearly not watching the Unfan podcast on a Friday night, looking ahead to this week's games, is he? Because he wouldn't be setting off fireworks. Thought Wednesday were the most complete we've played this season. They were seriously unlucky not to be out of sight at half-time against us. Sure, Moore will get it right, though. That's interesting. In fact, so interesting. Let's quickly switch over to this screen here. I want to go over to my screen, big screen, Jack. And then while we do that, we can set a little poll, because I want to do a little poll, and this is purely going to upset people. So here we go. I want to speak to some Sheffield Wednesday fans, because Sheffield Wednesday are always so fascinating to talk to, and it gives me an opportunity to do a live stream and sort of count stock, sort of really gain a little bit of understanding about how we're feeling. And actually, all League One fans can get involved in this. But I'm only interested because Sheffield Wednesday fans always provide really good debate. And I'm so confused about Sheffield Wednesday. It's such a bizarre side, and take that the right way. I just don't. Sometimes they go and play against Forest Green and win 5-0 and look absolutely incredible. I know it's Forest Green, but still that's a good result. Pompey went to Forest Green. I know home and away, but even side. Pompey went to Forest Green, only won the game 1-0. Sheffield Wednesday go and win 5-0, and then they go and drop points at home to Bristol Rovers. That's going to annoy. I'm going to go and shut my window. 1 second. type of content you don't get in other streams. Right, here we go. Will Sheffield Wednesday get promoted this season? Ask your community. Here we go. Far away, Sheffield Wednesday fans and League One fans in general. There we go. Right, by the way, if you've just joined and you haven't left a like, please do so. That'd be amazing. Because we've got 65 people watching right now, and we haven't got 65 likes, and that's annoying, isn't it? Really annoying. 12 votes. So get voting. 26 now. We're firing away. That's a tough question. Will Sheffield Wednesday get promoted this season? The only reason why I ask it is because a little bit of inconsistency. I'm intrigued. I really, really am. Right, quickly go back to this screen. Let's get back onto here. Not that one. That one. Actually, this one. You going to play the game? Yeah, you are. Right, let's do one more. One more game I want to chat about, and that is... Which game was it I want to talk about? It was... On this page here. It was Charlton versus MK Dons, wasn't it? Here it is. 37 people have given their thoughts. I'm just going to sort of start on this one, and then we'll move on to the poll results, and I'm just seeing a few Sheffield Wednesday fans give their thoughts. Right, Charlton versus MK Dons. This surprised me. I'm sort of surprised quite a few people as well, because this was not what I expected. I thought Charlton had this one in the bag purely because of the way they've been playing recently, the way that they've actually played at home as well. They've been very, very good, and I'm going to take the blame for this one, because every time I've been to the Valley this season, they have got something from the game. I've been 3 times, they've won twice, and they drew against us. They beat Portsmouth 3-0, they beat Exeter 4-2, and they drew to us 1-1. So, I'm going to take the blame. I wasn't at the Charlton game at home against the MK Dons, and they lost. So, take that as you will. We'll have a little look at the way that it looks in terms of the league table after that result before we break it down. Charlton now 8th in the league, but that really, really good run is frustrating when it comes to an end, because they didn't play very well, and especially against a side like MK Dons, who have not been good whatsoever. And this could keep Liam Manning in a job for, I don't know, another couple of weeks, because he looked like the first manager to get sacked. And if you told me at the start of the season, well, under the Sheffield Hasselbank, he's left, hasn't he? Well, he technically stepped down, I believe. I don't know whether or not he got sacked or not. It's tough, but I think it pretty much was a sacking. I don't think anyone else has been sacked, have they? Matt Taylor left the football club. So other than that, I think I'm right in saying this could be the first. We haven't actually seen a sacking other than Jimmy Hasselbank. Anyway, that's a really good result for him, and it gets them back on track. And that start to the season has been absolutely abysmal, but that result does make things a little bit more interesting. They're still, and we'll start off with, let's start with Charlton, because they went with a 4-4-2. It's what has been working recently. It's what's been getting them results. It allows them to play with Jadon Stockley and somebody else. I think they've sort of found that Jadon Stockley can be quite isolated, and playing as that front two works quite well. You've got Jadon Stockley, who isn't a quick player, but he's somebody that is going to hold at the ball. He's also somebody that can, he's great in the air as well. He's a physical presence, but he's not going to be that in-behind type of striker. Whereas Charlie Kirk, playing an essential area, he can play quite in-behind. He's got the pace, he's got that dribbling ability, and he can sort of play off the shoulder of Jadon Stockley. And, Jadon Stockley, if he wants to, and this is sort of a quite basic analysis, but, he can hold at the ball and find that Charlie Kirk ball, whether or not, he's running in behind. That's just an example. But that's, I think, the reason why they like to play there. Normally Charlie Kirk would probably play on that left-hand side when Lee Burn's fit, but we know that Lee Burn's currently got an injury. And Lee Burn and Charlie Kirk, Lee Burn's quite a quick player. He likes to play off the last man. He's got that sort of quite good strength about him. And him and Jadon Stockley are working quite well before he did get that injury. I look at that sort of flat back, well, I say flat back four, that's quite a flat back four. I would say flat, it's not a flat midfield three. Scott Fraser and George Dobson have been doing well. Raksaka from Crystal Palace is looking really exciting. He's got the dribbling ability, he's got that pace, and he's really, really good at taking players on and actually playing quite, well, he's brave actually with the way he takes players on. He does cause problems down that right-hand side. Tyrese Campbell, so the left-hand side's been a bit of an issue because they sort of haven't had that consistent player, because Charlie Kirk probably would be there, but then he's had to go up front because of Lee Burn's injury. They could play other players there, Jack Payne, who would start there, of course, and then he goes and gets an injury. So Jack Payne, when he came on against Exeter, looked really, really good. I've got my own thoughts on Jack Payne, but that's because he left Oxford United after not wanting to be at the club, because he basically asked to get recalled, and then he went to Swindon. So yeah, he's not a favourite in the Oxford United fan base, but he did play well, and I'm happy to admit he had a good game against Exeter when I went and watched him. He didn't do very well against Oxford, thankfully, and against Portsmouth, he did okay, but not amazingly well. In terms of the back four, Sean Clare on the left-hand side, that's a little bit bizarre. We also had Sean Clare at Oxford. He left after, well, I don't need to go into too much detail because it doesn't really matter, but he was on we loaned him out to Burton, then he came back, and I think Carl Robinson didn't really fancy him. He then goes to Charlton. We don't really know what type of player he is. He played a lot when he played at Hearts in Scotland as that centre midfielder, but I've noticed sort of when they play back three at Charlton, he can play as that right-sided centre-back, or he can play at right-back, but we tried him at right-back and he got awful ability at positioning. He cannot stay in one place at one time. He is lost on that right-hand side when he played for us at right-back. He has improved, I've heard. Left-back, though, that seems quite bizarre. It seems quite a challenge to play someone who's naturally, likes to be on that right hand side. He can play as that sort of right midfielder as well, but as a left back, seems a risk. And from what I've heard, didn't really pay off the risk at all. First half, let's have a little look at it. First half, not much going on. Pretty rubbish first half. Sort of not really either side taking sort of control of the game. You'd argue Charlton probably with a better side. MK Dons not really looking too threatening going forward. Just before half time, they did have a really good chance, but nothing to sort of nothing across the 45 to sort of say they deserve to be ahead. Maybe that chance alone was good. It's a really big spike, but yeah, nothing huge. Second half, game changes. The red card, it feels huge. It feels quite significant. A foul in the 54th minute, Ryan Innes, yellow card. 65th minute, it's a red card, and then Will Grigg scores the penalty in the 66th. So that red card seems to have changed the game, not just because the penalty is converted, but also because you're then playing the majority of the game. Well, not majority of the game, majority of the second half for sure. A big portion of the game, 65 minutes. You're still looking at 25 minutes of 25 minutes of football plus injury time. Actually, 30 minutes with the additional time. Half an hour down to 10 men and being 1-0 down, that's an uphill battle. Maybe you look at the form of Charlton, where they've been playing, you'd argue they do have the ability to sort of deal with that situation, and MK Dons haven't got very good confidence at the moment, and they will be low on the fact that they don't really believe they can win games of football when you look at their record. But Liam Manning, psychologically, I think got the players in the right mindset, and I think the players also look quite good in the situation. It wasn't a fantastic MK Dons performance, I wouldn't say, but it was one where you had to go and get the job done, and also it was not one that many people thought they'd go and get. So that it's in itself is really, really impressive. Bradley Johnson makes it 2-0 in the 78th minute, and that probably does seal the game off. Down to 10 men with 10 minutes to go. It's not easy for Charlton, but I did expect better because the way they've been playing, they've been really, really playing some good football, and MK Dons have been pretty abysmal. But this could be the way that MK Dons get back on track, and if this is where maybe they climb up the league table and Liam Manning gets them playing some really good stuff, or back to playing some good stuff, because last season they're exceptional under his tenure, then we never know. But at the moment it's not going very well for MK Dons, but this could maybe be the turning point. And if it is, it's not a bad result to start, not a bad result to start it, because going to the Valley, a very, very good home record this season at the Valley, exceptional I'd say, and to go there and win 2-0, they've done a really, really good job. We've looked at the league table, brief look at the stats. You can see here, 7 shots, only 1 on target for Charlton across the game. Not very good going forward. We speak about how the 4-4-2 allows Charlie Cook and Jalen Stockley to be more effective. They both got subbed off. I'm not surprised, because they only have 1 shot in a game of 90-minute football is a concern, and no surprise that they lost the game and struggled. 6, and this is actually a really good example of a side taking some good opportunities with those efforts they have. 8 shots, and pretty much, 6 on target's good, isn't it? 6 on target's good. And 7-1 looks pretty bad. Only 2 off target, of course, because we all know that 8 to take away 6 equals 2. Right, let's move on. Let's look ahead. Let's look forward, because lots and lots to talk about when we look at the upcoming games. By the way, 64 people have watched this. 64 people have watched it. That isn't what I meant to say. We've got 64 people currently voting, 63 at the moment. If you haven't left a like, by the way, 73 people leaving a like would be very nice. It would be very, very nice indeed. I've just seen Dylan Ward say, hello, handsome. Dylan, hello to you, sir. Hello to you. Are you going to Bolton game tomorrow? I'm not, Alex. I'm not. It's really difficult from where I am at the moment to get the train. It's like 3 or 4 trains. I mean, I probably could try and get to less, but it means I've got to leave really, really, early. But also, it also costs quite a lot as well. It's not a cheap journey, and I can watch it from home, so I probably will be doing that. In fact, I will definitely be watching it from home. I will not be going to Bolton. I have been to Bolton. I went last season to the game when we lost 2-1, and really good, really, really good atmosphere. Really, really enjoyed it. Really good away day, but unfortunately this season I won't be able to make it. But yeah, I can only apologise for that. I would try, as I always do. I've been to quite a few away games this season, Derby, Charlton, etc. But unfortunately, Bolton's might be a bit of a step too far. Never know how badly dressed we're in this league. Andy, welcome to the league. I presume you're a Derby fan. I think you are a Derby fan. I've seen you before, but I mean the officiating's bad, but you soon get used to it. let's have a look at this. Jake Tong. I don't know whether or not. Thought Wednesday were the most complete we've played this season. They were seriously unlucky not to be out of sight at half time against us. Sure, Darren will get it through. Oh, right, yeah, we read that earlier. And then he's never know about the refs are. Yeah, we've seen that one. MK Dons got promoted. Champions. It did. Not last season, though. But yeah, they have got a good record of promotion out of League One. But not so much this season, you'd imagine. Moe said Cheltenham, Legend, Ipswich, Plymouth, Bolton. As of now, I've said no. Right now, it's thought, okay, this is a good question because I'm just going to end the poll here. I can tell you, keep voting. I'll keep it up. I can look at the results so far. 68 people have voted. 37% of people have said yes. 63 have said no. The majority of people say Sheffield Wednesday won't get promoted this season. Now, that surprises me. That really, really does because they've got a really good squad, and that's really sort of bleak analysis, but they've got a really good squad. The question marks will always be over Darren Moore. I always find that. Darren Moore's really, really weird. Sorry, Darren. I meant to say, he's weird in the fan base in the sense that, by the way, Darren Moore's not weird. I don't know Darren Moore. That seems quite harsh. But it's quite strange the way that he's sort of perceived by Sheffield Wednesday fans. That's what's weird, not him. Sorry, Darren, if you're watching, don't you are. And some people say that he will turn it round, and he is the right man, and this is the type of guy that we feel that can guide us to promotion and get back into the Championship where we belong, if you like. And some people say he's got very limited tactical knowledge or very limited tactical experience. He hasn't got very good experience anyway as a manager. You would say, especially not in League One, for example. So there's he did all right at Doncaster, didn't he? But for a short time, he got moved on quite quickly there. But to be fair to the lads, when he moved away from Doncaster, they fell off a cliff. So it does sort of show how good he was when he was at that football club. He did do a good job. My prediction is Bolton 2, Oxford 1. Right, what have I missed, says Colin. We've only sort of looked back. We're now going to look ahead to the next games. Darren Moore subs cost Sheffield Wednesday the game at home park at Plymouth. Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's substitutions, his sort of tactical, I want to say knowledge, because of course he's a professional manager. Of course he's got tactical knowledge, but you know what I'm trying to say. So he seems a bit quite hot and cold in terms of the way that it's seen. We've overdue to batter someone. We're overdue to batter someone. Hopefully it's not Saturday, Colin. Hopefully it's not tomorrow. Right, let's start off with Derby against Bristol Rovers. Get your predictions in, everyone. We've got 64 people watching right now. Give me your thoughts. Because we've got 64 people that can give their thoughts, and that does excite me. That really, really does. Darren Moore confused us. That's what I mean. I'm sorry to say weird. I didn't mean weird, but Darren Moore is quite confusing in terms of what we expect. Riddleton Confusion 1, 2, 3. Talking of confusion, Riddleton Confusion. Rovers 3, Derby 2. Right, Derby County currently 10th in the league. By the way, I think that is right, isn't it? I just think that because they've got a dot there for no reason, well, that's in 8, but it is. Bristol Rovers, back-to-back draws in the last 2, of course. We just spoke about the one against Sheffield Wednesday. Derby, very inconsistent under Paul Warne so far. They've won games, they've also had some lost games, but that draw against Exeter at home, that'll be frustrating. Got a few of your predictions coming in right now. I've got 2-1 Rovers, 2-1 Rovers, 3-1 Derby, 2-2, Rovers 3-0. This is not really what I expected. 1-1, 1-0 Rovers. Bristol Rovers are the side in form. You look at sort of recent games, they are the better side when you look at the standings. Have a look at what the bookies have got to say. MK Dons, that's because I just saw Manning as my stepdad give his predictions, but I thought MK Dons 1-1, his prediction is. Derby County, 58% chance of winning. Bristol Rovers 21%. So Derby are still heavy bookies favourites, but you, from what you're saying in the live chat, you're not going with the bookies, you're going against the bookies, which is interesting. Daniel Nathan says draw 3-3, 0-0. Rovers are bringing up 3.1 thousand supporters. That's a really good following. Jake, I've just seen Jake's prediction. I think Gas will extend their little unbeaten run on the road, but I don't think they'll win. Score draw 2-2 for me. I can see a draw, but the odds don't. The bookies think that Derby are going to win this game fairly comfortably. Specifically, 33% to 18%. Something tells me Derby is still going to get through the game. I know we've sort of got a few draws there, a few upsets. It's either going to be a draw. I don't see Derby. I don't see Bristol Rovers sort of winning the game and Derby losing. I see this probably being a draw. I'm going to go Derby 2, Bristol Rovers 1 in this one. Sorry, Bristol Rovers fans, but I think Derby might have this one in the bag. I just got a feeling that it might be enough. I think they might have enough to sort of see it through. But it wouldn't surprise me because Bristol are in really good form, as the chatter reminded me. Sorry, I forgot you're an Oxford fan. I think we'll bat you tomorrow. I won't waste your time travelling north. Don't worry, Colin, I'm not travelling, so that won't be a problem. I'll just spread my disappointment from home. Derby are so overrated. They're a little bit inconsistent recently. I don't know what Paul Warren's got to do there, because that squad is... You've got to give them a little bit. Let's give them a little bit of slack. They had a really busy summer, and sort of integrating those players is still going to be a job. Changing their manager as well. But again, that's their decision. They decided to get rid of Liam Rosner, and Paul Warren came in. I've linked, so by the way, really relevant, but it's slightly irrelevant. But Liam Rosner, who of course left, or I think he's still there, but he's of course not manager. Paul Warren, the ex-Rotherham gaffer's come in and taken over at Pride Park. He's now, Liam, being, I think, wanted by Hull City as their manager. So that's a championship job. They made a decision to bring in Paul Warren, which I don't think you can really be too... I don't think you can be too confused by it, because he's an exceptional manager at League One level. The question will always be, can he keep a side in the Championship? Rotherham sort of known as that kind of yo-yo club. But he's got a big job in his hands. He's got a really big job on his hands, and I'm interested to see if he can do it. I don't think players suit Warner's style, I think is what you're trying to say, Ryan. Pingo says, but I reckon the odds would still put Derby beating teams like Plymouth. Maybe. Right now, I don't think they would. He played for them for 2 years. He played for them for years. I'll give you that Derby are overrated so far this season. Bookies are always biased. I wouldn't read too much in the bookies all the time, hence why I don't look at that first. But I still think Derby are going to win the game 2-1. That probably is a little bit unpopular in the chat at the moment. But I'll be honest in saying that Bristol have been in really good form, and again, they could shock us. They really, really could, because they went to Hillsborough on Wednesday, and a lot of people thought they wouldn't get anything from the game, and they came away with a point. And as we mentioned earlier in the little reflection we did, they made it really difficult for Sheffield Wednesday, and they stopped Wednesday from really looking quite good in that game. So, you've got to give them credit. Of course you do. Right, let's go to Barnsley then, because they're going to be hosting Forest Green. Quick look at the league table. Barnsley 9th. Haven't won a game in the last 4. And a difficult time at Barnsley. Difficult time for Michael Duff. He's got another challenge, another team, a quite high expectation side of getting back into the Championship as soon as possible. Both Barnsley and Derby, we just spoke about, got relegated last season. They all want to get in, get out of it straight away and get back into the Championship. But we've seen it for years and years. I wouldn't say I find it funny, but a lot of teams always get relegated. I remember I did a match reaction calling out Derby here. That's the title. I'm joking, of course it's not. I did a match reaction because Oxford played Derby in the first game of the season. I went to the game, did a match reaction on it, and I saw everyone in the comment section, all Derby fans, giving it the, we're going to get straight back up, Derby's army, we're going to walk the league. Honestly, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not going to win the league. I know we've just spoken about Derby. I haven't really seen as much with Barnsley yet because we haven't played them, but I always find Barnsley, Derby, and whoever gets relegated, we come into League One, or they come into League One, because we haven't actually been out of League One for quite a while, Oxford, for a long, long time. And it's not as easy as you think. It's not as easy as it. It's not. But Barnsley do have a point to prove. Just in it there by Brandon. That's a brilliant way of putting it. They do need to get back on track. And I feel home game against Forest Green, who again aren't also in brilliant form. They also haven't won a game in the last 4. And I've got a weaker squad, really, if we're being quite blunt. Barnsley will be seen as favourites. And I think will do the job. I think that sort of feeling of, I'm going to use the phrase again, getting a reaction, really pointing, proving a point. That's the sort of the feeling around Barnsley at the moment. And Michael Duff will know the importance of really getting back on track, because 6 defeats and 6 wins isn't amazing. 14 goals conceded isn't a huge problem, but 17 scored. They should probably be looking at scoring more goals. That's their downfall. Can they be better in terms of their output? That is letting them down. But their last 4 games haven't been great. Derby fans are annoying, no offence. I don't take offence to that. But again, I'm not a Derby fan. Barnsley never looked like scoring on Tuesday night. Jake, I didn't even read your chat, but I agree that the goal scoring is a huge problem. Barnsley never looked like scoring on Tuesday night. Really missing Luke Thomas. I think they'll struggle again Saturday. And only just get over the line 1-0. Yeah, I see them winning the game. I do see them winning the game because they have got a point to prove. But it won't be an easy game. It won't be an easy game. Rovers going to score a last-minute winner. We'll talk about the last game there. No problem. The problem is with Sheffield Wednesday is they're like Sunderland. They're a massive club in League One. The fans demand success. Unfortunately, in football, it doesn't really happen like that. It can happen, but it certainly isn't as instant as people would want it to be. 0-0. I'm a lovely guy, Andy. You are a lovely guy. Derby fans are annoying. I know, I didn't read it as that. Derby fans are annoying. Andy, you're not... Andy's not annoying. Ipswich currently phone. wow, this is not going to be a walk in the park. Quick look at the odds. We haven't got Forest Green's odds, but Barnsley on 62%, so they will be favourites. Barnsley are a poor side, set up the Bolton. They're not as good as I thought they might be, but still time. Only 15 games, and the run for them feels that it's got to be ending. It's got to be ending tomorrow. I think Barnsley will win the game. I'm going to go 2-0. I've seen a few 1-0s in there. 2-0 Barnsley's Colin. I'm going to agree with you, Colin. I'm going to go 2-0. Right, Charlton versus Ipswich. I think, how many games we got? Yeah, got a few, haven't we? Charlton Ipswich, what a massive game this is. In fact, let's go back to it. I'm going to really wind everyone up because we've got a lot of Charlton fans, we've got a lot of Ipswich fans, so we want to keep them watching until the end. Sorry, guys, but you got to do what you got to do. People ask me, why'd you leave Ipswich till the end? Why'd you leave Derby and Pompey till the end? I got to keep you watching. Port Vale, Lincoln. Port Vale, Lincoln, and of course we've got a Lincoln City fan in here and content creator, Jake. Give me your thoughts, Jake. How do you see this one? Lincoln, 11th in the league, but doing really, really well. And I look at their recent form at Lincoln. It's looking quite exciting. It is looking quite exciting. I said right at the start of the season, sort of first 8 or 9 games, we had a fan call-in. Jake was one of the Lincoln City fans, or the only Lincoln City fan, but one of the people that did the call-ins. And he described this as I think I said it and he agreed, it's a bit of a weird season, a really bizarre Lincoln City season, and no one really knows what they're all about. And in recent weeks, we're sort of seeing a much improved, more consistent Lincoln team. And I think we're now slowly trying to really work out what Mark Kennedy's trying to do with this side. Recent results have been really, really good. And what they have got a good record of doing this season is going to away grounds and just getting the 3 points. Barnsley 1-0. Their other win as well was at home, away to Ipswich. Going away from home and then grabbing the 3 points and then running off home. It's what the Imps are doing so well this season. And if you can get that as a habit, you're going to be in a lovely, lovely position. And I was going to say maybe a consistency against sides like Port Vale. Well, this is going to be a test for them because if they can win this game, then you can sort of go, right, they can be that sort of real banana skin side, but they also can win the games you'd expect them to win. You probably would expect them to beat Port Vale. Port Vale won't be a walkover. They've also had some really good results recently. Of course, they went to Derby and they won there quite recently. I think it's this one there, 2-1. They've been to some big grounds this season as well, and they've got results, and so far, so good for Port Vale in their hope to stay in the division. So it's going to be quite fascinating. Sort of two sides that got quite a good record this season are going to quite difficult rounds of getting results. Port Vale had Ipswich on Tuesday, and they lost that game 3-2. But putting a good shout. Hi Danny, up the Argyle. Cheating Vale says, but up the Bolton. There's Wycombe Monopoly out there. Dice come out shaker. They roll around the floor for 8 minutes. Yeah, that's. I should work that one out. They do like to roll around a little bit and waste a little bit of time, but that's football. It's football. Frustrating for sure, but it's football. Colin Yates says, weird team, Lincoln. They are weird, aren't they? Jake says, have a feeling we should nick this. Based on the run that we're on, we've had we've had a second hardest start to this campaign. Have a feeling we take this one 1-0. We've played 9 out of the current top 10 and to be 11th after that run, I'm really happy. And so you should be, Jake, because that's what I mean. You've got a really, really good record of going to these sort of grounds, anywhere really, then sees these top sides that sort of have that real ambition of expectation to being up there come the end of the season. And you've got some really good results out of it. You're doing much better than some sides. Oxford as examples. Let's have a look at the odds, and of course beat us as well. So you're doing a really, really good job. Can we do Shrewsbury, please? We will come on to Shrewsbury. Of course, they are hosting Portsmouth. Are they hosting them? Or is that Pompey? We'll find out in a minute. I want to say that it's a home game, isn't it, for Portsmouth, for Shrewsbury. Hang on, I got it on my thumbnail there. It's Portsmouth, isn't it? Portsmouth are at home. Anyway, irrelevant. Let's move on. Port Vale, 53% chance of winning. Lincoln's only 5%. Very well. Back in the home side there, Port Vale. Eyes out for Danny. Managerial man is on form. Ask Wednesday fans. He is in good form. He is in good form. I saw that name crop up the other day. Plymouth has a new US investment for the January coming window. They talk of big US takeover if Plymouth reaches the championship. Yeah, that's one of those, Daniel, where you have to believe it when you see it. But thanks for that. USA to Cornwall, to Devon. I got it wrong. I'm going to go... It's tough, isn't it? It's tough. If Lincoln were at home this game, I'd probably say 2 or 3-0 or 2 or 3-1. But I'm going to go I'm going to go 2-1 to Lincoln. I see Lincoln win the game, and if they could, it's a really good sign of them continuing on their good run that they're on. PTWFC says, yeah, Devon. James Fulton says, out of 100 minutes of football Tuesday night, the ball was in for play for 49 minutes. Bolton Wanderers versus Burton is a joke, needs stopping. Burton, they're always going to do it, mate. They're always going to do it, but you won the game, so it's all right. To be honest, Oxford could easily win tomorrow if it depends on the formation and team we put out. Yeah. I think it depends on the team that we put out as well, mate, but thanks for the encouragement. Sheffield Wednesday are home to Burton. Burton get a little bit sick of them. Burton did the same thing against Posh, but expect it again. Good man, Jake. I'll pass you a fiver if you make it up to the bank. I think I'm going to try and get to Lincoln this season. I really want to do that, but I'm not sure. Vale Lincoln got draw written all over it. Yeah, it probably does. It's either a draw or a Lincoln win in my eyes. So I'm going to edge towards Lincoln because I like Jake, so I'm going to go 2-1. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is top class analysis. Lincoln towards the people you know in the industry. Brandon, Wednesday, win 6-0. Right. I don't know, to be fair, Wednesday will probably win the game. It's not going to be easy. I speak to a few Burton fans. Teams that played Burton. There isn't many Burton fans out there, is there? That's going to annoy him, isn't it? Oh, I said it. No, look, Burton this season, they're 23rd in the league. They didn't have a good start whatsoever. Recently tried to pick it up a little bit. They lost their last one. A lot of frustration, you'd say, around the fact that they're not a side to keep the ball in play or try and play attractive styles, but they will try and grind you down. They will try and play the dark arts well. But if the dark arts work, then it's hard to say. I'm one of those where I always go, the dark arts is very, very frustrating against you, but for you, it's lovely to see your side take 20 seconds, 30 seconds to take a corner, 30 seconds, 40 seconds to take a throw in. It's lovely, isn't it? But when you're losing, it's the worst thing in the world. So you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. But I still think Burton, and it probably will get, but every side does it. So many sides do it. People will be like, Burton did it really badly, and sometimes we'll do it more than others. But it depends on the game as well. If Burton are losing the game 2-0, they're not going to do it, are they? But yeah. If any team's got a couple of defenders that Derby could borrow for a couple of months, right back and set up would be great. I wish we did. We don't. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Burton 0. Sheffield Wednesday can't drop points tomorrow. Drop points from Bristol Rovers and Lincoln. We can't drop points against them sides if you're pushing for automatics. Yeah, this is a game you got to win, but I think you will win it. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday win this game 3-0. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that. 2-0 says, I know as a Papa John's Trophy, but Burton went to Hillsborough and won earlier this season. Something different to throw into the mix. It is, and you've got to also take into consideration the recent games between these two sides. Or when teams have come to you and do it the same. Do it all game. Yeah, again, it's annoying. I get it. Trust me, we've had it for years with Wycombe and other sides. Sheffield Wednesday heavy favourites, only 70% in total to win this game. In fact, their actual specific odds 75%. They got a very, very good chance of winning this match according to the bookies. Shrewsbury, my dark horses, they were, and to be fair, they started off letting me down, but recently, other than the last two, they did some really good recruitment in the summer. 1-0 Sheffield Wednesday, tight as I'm not going to read the rest of that, but we get the picture. I think Colin's trying to say it's going to be quite a tight game of football. I'm going to go 3-0 though. I'm not going to agree with you, Colin. I'm going to go against you there 3-0. I think Sheffield Wednesday, the home side, again, after their draw against Bristol Rovers, their fans, they won't take many more, disappointing results at home. They won't take bad football at home either. So I think they're going to know that and they're going to put on a show and win it quite comfortably. Hi, I'm an Exeter. You are Exeter. John Pierce Mariner is an Exeter. Hi, John. From Exeter. Or to Exeter. I'm not in Exeter right now. I can confirm that. Can't, says Stevie. Interesting. Baxter. When big teams come against teams down the bottom of 10, they always find it hard because they always try to frustrate the opposition. So anything could happen. Do we think Burton will take more than 10 fans? 11. Right, let's go to Peterborough United then, because they're going to be playing against Cambridge United, who of course got a really good win against Wycombe Wanderers on Tuesday. And again, to look at the odds here about the poll, it's a little bit closer now. 41% of people think that Sheffield Wednesday will get promoted. 59% of you think they won't. Interesting stuff. By the way, if you just joined us and you haven't left a like, please do hit that like button. That'd be amazing. In fact, let's quickly go over to the big screen. In fact, we've got time. How long are we going for? A little while, haven't we? But let's go over to this screen here. How are we? Just 49 minutes at the moment. We're doing alright, aren't we? We're doing alright. And while we do that, fire in some questions and we'll answer it. Oh, yes, forgot you got extra points for having more fans. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? So it's 1 point for a draw, 3 points for a win. But if you take more than 5,000 fans, it's 4 points. I do find it fascinating. In fact, why I tweet the stream out, because I want to tweet it out, and I didn't have time to do it before. I was doing my laundry. I do like it. I do find it quite funny when fans talk about fans. I get it, isn't it? It's a big part of the game. But it does make me laugh when... I did a title of a video, by the way, we're live, so I'm not going to say I'm uncensored, but I sort of get a bit more of a discussion about things. I did a video, the Portsmouth video, outside the ground. I haven't checked it out. I spoke to Tom and other Port Pompey fans. And I titled the video, "Do Ports have the best away support in the league?" or something along those lines. Oh my gosh. The amount of Plymouth, Bolton, there's a question mark there. There was a question mark there. But, oh Lord, it was a busy comment section. And not many people agree with it. Not many people agree with it whatsoever. Let's have a little look at what people have got to say here. What a game that was. Looked like MK Dons of old. I think I might be really behind the chat there. I don't think that's the updated chat. I really am behind here. I'm years behind on the chat at the moment. Years and years behind. It's a point of discussion, the fans thing. I do find that cool, and I think it's a little bit weird, isn't it? I don't really understand it. Bristol City getting relegated. Harris, Plymouth fans with 7 fingers, I wouldn't... I can't have read that out. I wouldn't worry about them. Mate. There we go. Harris giving his thoughts on Plymouth fans. I'm going to announce that Harris is an Exeter City fan. Jake Tonk says, me and Napper's got loads of stick of bottom fans are calling them out and members and supporters. Funny stuff. No, it is. It's a good laugh, isn't it? If I say this now and someone will clip it up and I'll say something like, Bolton have got awful away support. Stick it on TikTok. Do it. I'm joking, please don't. 8 fingers, Harris, thanks. Every club have top fans and people spend their hard-earned money cash on their football deserve a lot of respect, especially given the current climate, financial climate. You're spot on, Colin. You know, as much as I joke and we talk about the whole fan thing, I think it's also down to the area that you live in as well. In terms of Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield is bigger than Burton. So, they're going to have more fans. It's sort of a strange one to get your head around, isn't it? It's all a bit confusing. People sort of get into that discussion. Tends to be, the more people that live in the area, the more people you're going to attract as a football club. It's just all banter. I respect clubs like Fleetwood despite their small fan bases. Good clubs, but unfortunately every league has small clubs. It's nothing personal. It's just the way the football goes. Yeah. That's probably fair. But it is quite funny when you say things like, and people say things like, they got a really small fan base, therefore they won't win. How many fans do you think? I'm not quite sure what you mean. I think 3 when Argyle, as much as I hate to say it, they're at a club. The banter between the fans is 50% of supporting a club. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Very, very true. I'm just tweeting this out, by the way. We will not be long. A bit late now, isn't it? We've already got half the games done. Right, it's out. Let's switch it back over to this screen here. Peterborough United versus Cambridge United, by the way, is the next game. Boom. 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 Right, Peterborough United versus Cambridge. That said, we've got 20,000. Let's move on from the chat now. I'm glad we did a little bit of a time stop talking about fans. We can now move back solely to the task in hand. We'll take more fans to Hillsborough than Wednesday brought to us. That make us bigger than Wednesday. Did it still cost an arm and a leg to go to Wednesday? Plymouth at home is a freak of nature. Right, let's get back to the job in hand. Let's not talk about fans, but I know it's always a brilliant way of frustrating people and causing absolute havoc in the live chat. And people forget about what we're trying to do, and that's when you're trying to tweet a podcast episode out. It's always nice, isn't it? Exeter keeper sent off for pushing the ref. Is that a prediction, or is that something that's happened before? Peterborough United, 4th in the league, back-to-back wins for them. Cambridge with a win in their last game. We spoke about it against Wycombe. They won that game 3-2, 19 points in total. We've been lucky at home so far, but let's hope we can smash the close. I don't want to. On Monday, let's try and be careful the way that I read things out. Feel free to put it in the chat, but I'm obviously trying to. Scum is what he said. Peterborough at 67%. Wednesday the odds 1 to 2. There's a chance of winning 67%, 75% chance of winning in total. So Peterborough they are favourites in the game, and that probably is quite a fair reflection. Cambridge, they will be looking to sort of get back to winning ways. Say it. I've said it now, and I've said it, and they're going back. Plymouth and Ipswich get all the luck. They get all the luck. They get every single bounce in the box. Seems a little bit. It's not. I don't quite think we can buy that, but interesting point. I don't know about that. I'm sure they might get a little. Is that because they maybe the quality of the ball, or maybe they've got players in the area because they've got better players? I don't know. Top 6, 28 points in total. We looked at the odds there. I think Peterborough, the home side, win the game. I'm going to go 2-0. It's not luck, it's deserved. Yeah, pure luck. Cambridge Derby, of course. I know someone who's going to university with me at the moment. He's going back for this game. It's going to be massive. There is a bit of a rivalry between the two sides. I think Peterborough United will come out on the game on top. I think that they've got this one in the bag. They've got the quality, haven't they? They've got Johnson Clark Harris to name one. They got what's his name at the back? Is it Edwards at the back? He's absolutely incredible. I didn't know it until I watched. Or I saw Peterborough United. I watched Peterborough United in the Papa John's Trophy game. I saw someone who's a Peterborough United fan go, the chairman calls, where is he? Here he is, Ronnie Edwards, yeah. He's actually named by the Peterborough United fans as new stadium. Or certainly by the chairman. He is the new stadium. Apparently Tottenham, sides like that, Tottenham, Southampton, all these other sides, the lower end Premier League sides, lots of top end Championship clubs are interested in Ronnie Edwards. He's got such a high future, and the ceiling on that lad is so exciting. So watch out for Ronnie Edwards. He's going to be a star centre back. Pocky's also a really skillful player. Scored against us. Clark Harris, we honour the quality of him. So, and Joe Ward, I mentioned the 3 players there, or 4, but these are some top players. But watch out for Ronnie Edwards at the back, and watch out for Johnson Clark Harris leading the line. For Cambridge, it's going to be Joe Ironside, that number 9. They've got Digby, who's a really good midfield option. They've got some good players. I think Peterborough have got this one in the bag. I'm going to go 2-0 to Peterborough United. Matt MS says, good evening, sir. Matt, it's lovely to see you, lovely to hear from you. How are you, my friend? We haven't done a live stream in a little while. Matt is a lovely, lovely fella. Of course, there's Cheltenham content. Definitely go and check him out. He's a brilliant channel surrounding Cheltenham. Jake Tongs, Peterborough United, good in easy moments. If you get there in the face, I think they'll struggle. But home, you can't get against Posh. You go 1-0 down, Jake. Things get a little bit interesting, don't they? Because in terms of coming from, what's the stat where they're really bad when leading in games? They've got quite a bad track record. They are sort of a side that have been down in games a couple of times, or been up in games. They come back. I'm going to get the stat right. They haven't won many games. They've won quite a few games recently, haven't they? I think didn't they go 1-0 up in this game? Yeah, they went 1-0 up and then came back. It's their run before this quite good run they were going on. They had a bit of a strange run where they were. Let's talk about the Oxford game. Don't worry, Colin, we'll get to it. We have to talk about it. Have to say though, watch out for Bolton. They're going to go out their business pretty damn good on the radar. Wants to watch out for the league. I'm good, thanks, pal. Yourself? I'm not bad, Matt. I'm not bad. Here we go. It's a bad run. They sort of were going on. I could be completely wrong. No, look, I am right. Yeah, they sort of. It's when they score first. Yeah, I wanted to get the make sure the stat was right and not embarrass myself, but I should have committed, shouldn't I? Yeah, 1-0 down against 1-0 up against Pompey. They went on to lose the game. Away from this season has been a problem. Posh have been poor on the road when they score first. Yeah, so I'm going to take that. I should have committed more. I should have committed better, shouldn't I? Right, let's move on to the next one then. I'm going to go 2-0 towards the Posh in this one. Should we do another poll? Ladies and gentlemen who are in the live chat right now, if you haven't left a like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, I believe we're so close to 3,400 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We're 2 away. If you're watching that right now and you haven't subscribed, Please subscribe. We're so close to 3,400 subscribers, and we could do it in today's episode. So if you haven't subscribed, it's free to do so. Let's hit that button. If you've got any ideas for polls, let me know, because I'm struggling for poll ideas at the moment. Well, I'm not struggling for poll ideas. I've got a couple, but you're the people that are watching it, so you should decide what we all vote on. Because the Sheffield Wednesday one, it did surprise me. 124 people voted on that one, and Sheffield Wednesday, apparently, according to you in the live chat, are not getting promoted. Jim West says Wednesday should get back on track. Burton improved, but no Bristol. Rose has spoken about this game, but it's a very good point from yourself. Connor Bradley to score anything any time tomorrow. Put your money on that. Do you go to away matches? I've been to Derby this season. I've been to Charlton this season. I think that's all of them, hasn't it? I haven't been very good. Meant to go to Shrewsbury, and the game got postponed, but I will hopefully be still going to Shrewsbury. I feel like I've been to a couple more, but I don't think I actually have. Which is, I'll be going to Wycombe. I always go to Wycombe. I'll be going to MK Dons. I didn't go to Cheltenham, unfortunately, this year. I want to try and go to Ipswich over the Christmas. It gets a little bit more difficult. Last season, I went to quite a few. Last season, I did Hillsborough, etc. But obviously, now moving to London, it's a bit more, a little bit up and down with the ability to get to games, especially away from home. Top two always already. Will Bristol Rovers get promoted? Poll. Interesting. We'll wait for a few more people's responses before we go and commit for our last poll. Right. We've got quite a few more to get through. Plymouth to Exeter. Let's do it. Let's do it. Plymouth to get promoted, I don't know. When do that little Plymouth club travel up to our place? What title that would be? How to make the entirety of Plymouth never watch anything ever again. Can you vlog Oxford Shrewsbury? I'm not a vlogger. I'm not a vlogger, Callum, unfortunately, mate. That isn't the type of content. I do outside the ground recently, which I really enjoyed doing, and I might bring that back for that game. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, in terms of like vlogging games, it's not something that we tend to do here on this channel, purely because it's just not something that it's just I enjoy watching them, but in terms of doing them, it's not something that I'm massively keen for. But I get it works for so many people and do a really good job of it. And there's a brilliant amount of vloggers out there, including Matt, of course. We've seen earlier. He does really good content at Cheltenham games. Can we have a poll for which manager we expect to be sacked? If you give me the suggestions, I've got obviously Carl Robinson's probably going to be an obvious shout. Then that's a really good poll actually. Really good poll. I really like that. Let's go back to this screen here. Well, I think we've got a bit of FPS worry at the moment. I feel we might be losing a little bit of streaming. Oh, we could be right. We're back up now. Shall we bring up some pasties? Darren Moore has to be up there. Yeah, he probably does, doesn't he? Poor Darren Moore. Drop a few points, and then everything just gets annoying, doesn't it? Right, I'm gonna go back to full screen quickly while I put this poll up. Have we hit any subscribers yet? Have we hit 3,400? You're amazing, by the way. We just have 3,401. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much. Let's get some more. Let's get a poll up. I think it was a brilliant idea, by the way. Whoever said the poll, YouTube is not receiving enough to maintain smooth streaming. Sorry, YouTube, but we've gone this far now, so we're not changing. So sorry about that. I can only apologise. It's a little bit up and down. I've got this new the new like camera thing that sort of clicks in, and it basically makes the frame rate worse, but the lag is apparently meant to be sort of with my audio. I don't know, I'm telling you this, but it's struggling a little bit. If it gets really bad, let me know, and I'll just switch over to another camera, sort of my desktop camera, which isn't as good, but it sort of would be a little bit more smooth. Right, quick poll. We ain't got time. We're going for over an hour, and we need to get going here. I need to end the first poll first. That's annoying, isn't it? Come on, end the poll. End poll. End poll. By the way, it ended off. Will Sheffield Wednesday get promoted? 58% chance of winning. Didn't expect that. I thought Sheffield Wednesday would be the favourites in that one. I'll be honest. I thought they'd be the favourites to be everyone's sort of side to go up. How many sort of different ones can we have? First, we're in capital letters now. It's going to stay like that as well. First manager to get the sack. Really good poll. Really good poll. It sounds like someone's stealing a car. Yeah, that's outside. Don't worry, it's not your car getting stolen. It's mine. It's not my car. But it is outside my window. First manager to get the sack. Let's go. Carl Robinson. And let's be as fair as we can, shall we? Should we be as fair as we can? Let's not bring any bias into it. Let's just be who you think will get sacked first. Because someone will go. And it is sacking season at the moment, isn't it? So, as we all know, this is sort of the time where things do get a little bit shaky for managers. And hope it's going well anyway for you, fella. Chin up. Smashing it, Tom. Says that. Lovely, lovely comment. It's going well, mate. Really, really enjoying it now. Really settled in. And yeah, it's going well. Carl Robinson, struggling without Scar, is a comment from PTWFC. Can't lie, Plymouth fan. I hope we don't drop form against the last season. Liam Manning has to be one, yeah. Carl Robinson, Darren Moore, Liam Manning. Any more? Any more for any more? Carl Robinson, Darren Moore, Liam Manning. I'm looking at a quick look at the league table because that's always cheating, isn't it? No, I think everyone's sort of safe, aren't they? Mark Bonner, no, he'll be safe and sound. No, no real problem there. No. Michael Duff, maybe. I mean, probably a bit early, isn't it? But we'll stick him in there because he's struggling at Barnsley. And, you know, we sides that sort of have our really high expectation. You know, but I think they'll give him time. But I'm going to put him in there anyway. I doubt he's going to get any type of percentage. If you think Michael Duff's going to get sacked, then that's really fascinating. I don't think he will. They're going to try and give him as much time as he can. Coley at Accrington. See, I did see that. Maybe they might. Hello, Mr. Podcast Man. Hello, mate. Derek Edwards is one, I think. Yeah, let's put that in there. He's the hang on, I'm trying to read the chat and then also try and work out how to start a poll, which is never easy. Barnsley at the Bolton, yeah, that's what I mean. I put him down, but I don't know. They might give him as much time as they can, mightn't they? They might just try and they might sort of see him as that long-term fit, which when he got appointed, that was what everything was sort of coming out, wasn't it? It was, you know, let's give him as much time as we can, and that might be the way to go about it. So we've got Derek Edwards, of course. He's he's Morecambe, isn't he? He's the Morecambe manager. So, I accidentally just pressed go. Oh dear. By the way, oh god, let's end it and do it again because I accidentally pressed go. Sorry, everyone. We will get there. It just might take ages. But we've got time. It's not like we've got things to do, is it? I've got feelings I've got to cook dinner. Do a poll. What should Jack make for dinner? Another one. Wade Elliott as well. Can we have a discussion on Wade Elliott? I don't know if we've got any more in there. God. Because Wade Elliott at Cheltenham, I saw... Did I end the poll? Is the poll still up? I meant to end it. I've got another one starting anyway now. Should we just leave it as that? Leave it as that. If you think Derek Edwards is going to get sacked, I've sort of cocked up the poll, but, you know, work it out for yourself. Derek Edwards is an option. If you think it's going to be Derek Edwards, just stick Derek Edwards in the chat in 3, 2, 1. Go. And other than that, let's have a little look at what we've got to see here. Off for a nice Italian meal with a lady friend. Have a good rest of your stream. Jake, have a good time with your lady friend at the Italian restaurant. Go to Italian meal. Good poll. Bloody good poll. Right. Jack's now lost his iPhone charger. And, no, he hasn't. Professional stream, as always here on the Unfan Podcast. Try and plug that in there. This is a flattering shot for everyone. Ian Birchnell. Right, let's move over to this screen here. Derek Adams might get the boot. Agreed. I'm a Cheltenham fan. Where it is not a football match. I'm a Cheltenham fan. Wade Elliott is not a football match, but we're a small club and can't expect big managers to come in. Wade Elliott is not a football match. I'm not quite sure what you meant by that. Maybe you mean he's not the right man to. I understand there's quite a few sort of opinions on Wade Elliott at the moment. He's not the most liked manager in the world, is he? But I think he's one of those that over time maybe that he might get that bit of time that might sort of get him over the line and keep shouting him up, because that's going to be the aim for them, isn't it? Just stay in the league, really. That's ultimately what they want. Right, let's quickly finish these games off because we haven't got loads of time because I'm starving. I need to get some food down me. I've been eating since lunch. It's 8 o'clock and I get hungry these days. Get very hungry. Let's whip the stream back up on here so I've got the live chat for you. Right, let's go to Ipswich. Let's just hit the big one. I know we're going to go to Plymouth, weren't we? Plymouth Exeter. Let's start that. Of course, the Devon derby. It's live on Sky as well, which is always nice. We get to watch that game on Monday, so that's going to be really, really interesting. I will be, of course, watching that game, and it's going to be good. I feel like it's going to be a really good game of football. Oh, I think I'll just leave my phone number. Don't nightmare. Don't call that phone number that I've just put on the screen. That's I don't know whether that was my phone number, but I presume it was. Not the other phone number will just come up on the screen. Right, let's go. What shambles has been. Second half of the stream and an absolute bloody nightmare. Right, let's move on. Plymouth, top of the league. Exeter, 7th in the league. Exeter just appointed a new manager. Really good point against Pride Park. And against Pride Park, at Pride Park, against Derby. Plymouth, I see that, Sky Sports main event. The home side, first Devon derby in a little while. Of course, haven't been in the same league for a few years now, so it's going to be really interesting to see how these sides match up. In terms of the odds, how the bookies seeing this sort of Devon go, it is Plymouth being the favourites. I can sort of see why, because they are the home side, and of course, they are in better form. But Exeter, I think if you sort of planned out this derby when you sort of saw the fixture release a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, it's longer than that now, isn't it? It's probably a couple of months ago now, a few months ago. You probably would say this could be a little bit easier for Plymouth than maybe some people would expect. Maybe didn't think that Plymouth would be top of the league after 16 games, but I'm leaning towards Exeter. Would we be thinking Exeter would be just outside the top 6, playing some really good football, and did so well that their manager of a long time, Matt Taylor, has now gone over to manage in the Championship? I don't know. It's an interesting discussion, but you can't deny that this is going to be a really, really interesting game of footy. And I'm interested to see what you've got to say in the comment section. First manager gets sacked. 39 people have voted. I'm going to just see what we're looking at. Currently, Liam Manning is the favourite. Then Darren Moore. Then Carl Robinson. Interesting. I'd probably go out of them. Liam Manning, Robinson, Moore. Personally, I think Moore will stay. I think he probably will stay. 51 people watching right now. If you could leave a like, that'd be absolutely incredible. Let's sort of see what we've got here. Wrong division. If you're not going to Bolton, how many Oxford fans are there? Plymouth 2, Exeter 1. There'll be a few fans there. Plymouth 3, Exeter 2. Bolton 4-0. Sorry, Plymouth 4-0. Plymouth 4, Exeter 2. Plymouth 3, Exeter 2, 2-1. Interesting. So Plymouth are the heavy favourites in the game, and the chat is sort of reciprocating that. 3-1 Exeter, says Yusuf Keynes. Yeah, I'm going to go... I think Plymouth will win the game. I'm sorry. I know Harris will probably be watching this. You never know in derby games, and derby games can go the way. I just think Plymouth probably do have this one in the bag. Table goes out the window for this game. Wouldn't even say about 3 points. Argyle edge it 2-1. So I mean, derby's a different breed, isn't it? So it's really, really difficult to sort of judge it in terms of league position. It's not a good one to sort of reflect it on, and predicting it is really difficult. But I'd also say Plymouth are probably in a better place in terms of. Exeter is still trying to find out the new manager in terms of how he exactly wants his side to play. He did well against Derby, of course, so, I don't know. I think Plymouth might just do it. 1-0. 1-0. A lot of 3-0s now. I can see Exeter winning at Plymouth. Plymouth are in a false position. David Green, of course, known to go into the live chat and bring a very strong but sometimes correct opinion. They're all opinions. You can't be wrong, can you? But yeah, frustrates a couple of people, but we love Dave for that. We love David for just that. Right, let's go to the last 1, 2, 3, 4. Bloody hell, we've got loads to do, haven't we? Right, crack on. Pompey Shrewsbury. Portsmouth against Shrewsbury. Portsmouth 6th in the league. Drew their last game against Oxford United 1-1. Of course, beat Forest Green 1-0. Before that, a little bit of a frustrating run. Plymouth are in a false position. Don't listen to. We'll listen to him, but just you'll get used to David. He's full of his fun in the comments. Frustrating games recently, and again, Oxford, they would feel that they probably should win that game. It's one that they feel that they should be getting 3 points against because Oxford are not in good form. We sort of made it quite difficult for them at times and got that sending off, and Plymouth maybe felt they could have maybe got a little bit more than a point. I'd say a point was fair. Watch much reaction, of course, on the channel now for more detail. Shrewsbury 12th in the league. My surprise package at the start of the season, I'd say they still are. Last 2 games haven't been great, but I look at the squad they've got. They're looking in good shape, and instead of sort of hovering around sort of 18th to 20th like some of the sides that we don't really want to be are, they're in the 12th, and they're doing a really, really good job generally on the whole, and they're not out of the race. 21 points, it's so tight. 5-6 points, you're looking at 5th or 6th, and that's how close this division is. Tables upside down, Dave. Pompey 1, Shrewsbury 1, Wills gone down to midfield injuries. Bottom 4, I'm saying Forest Green, Rovers, Cheltenham, Burton and Morecambe. In terms of the odds, 50-60% chance of winning for Portsmouth, Shrewsbury 20%, 39%, 21% when you look at those on a specific basis. So Portsmouth are the favourites in this game. Another draw for Pompey, 1-1, really? Really, I know Pompey, that there's a bit of frustration around that football club, a little bit of concern, because again, the results, they're a little bit inconsistent, really. That's the best way of putting it. They're a little bit inconsistent. I do think Portsmouth will win the game, though. I think Fratton Park and the fact that they need this result, because there's always an element of doubt. A few people saying about Portsmouth maybe going to bottle the top 6 again like they always do. There are quite a few comments about that after some frustrating results, but I still think they're in a position where that squad is good enough. Injuries have been such a problem for them. They've had so many players out injured, and Tom Lowry is such a key figure. Marlon Pack, of course, he got suspended, had to come in, and Mingy had to come in. Actually done quite a good job. Marlon Pack coming out the side hasn't been good, because you look how important he was come the start of the campaign, and others as well. So that is a factor. If Shrewsbury play anything like they did against Argyle, I could see Pompey losing the game. Shrewsbury were dirty all game, the time wasted worse than Wycombe. It was half of Portsmouth. Pompey 3-1, 1-1, 1-1, 2-1 Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury very frustrating to play against, 1-1. Yeah, I've heard that actually. Shrewsbury sort of quite a physical side, quite a physical presence, and leads the dark arts well. But if it works well, then it's annoying, but it is an element of football, whether you like it or not. I think Pompey will win the game though. I'm gonna go 2-0, which is going to be a bit of a surprise, because I think a few people sort of predicted draw, but I'm back in Fratton Park Sports, I'm back in Danny Cowley, and I'm back in time for 4 Everton over it. I reckon 2-0. But you get brought in, and you sort of get sucked into the frustrating dark arts that are used by Shrewsbury and lots of other clubs in the league. It's not just Shrewsbury, and you never know. Results can sort of change so quickly, and football is an ever-changing match. That was sort of sound like an inspirational quote. It's a sort of ever-changing game, isn't it? In game, it can always, it can change in a split second. So I'm not quite sure what that point was all about. I think it was sort of leaning towards the fact that you use the dark arts effectively. That's amazing, but again, you can get things can change. Let's move on. Because I'm talking at my backside right now, aren't I? Bolton vs Oxford, taking nothing for granted. There's no bankers in this league, perhaps the best league to monitor, given the big clubs fighting to gain promotion. David, I love your thoughts. David's thoughts into the scoreline for Bolton vs Oxford? Or am I going to get told, I don't need one? Charlton and MK Dons next. It's not an advert, by the way, but got this sparkling ice, cloudy lemon flavoured water. This one here. Don't rate it. It's with vitamins but no added sugar. It's not great. It's like a fizzy. Well, it's not even like lemonade, because it's sparkling ice with lemon in it. So it's just like lemon in water with a bit of fizz. It's not great. Wouldn't recommend it. Got it in a meal deal. Anyway, Cheltenham vs MK Dons, 18th in the league for Cheltenham. They won their last game, of course, against Morecambe 1-0, and again a little bit of annoying run there that Wade Elliott was sort of asked to be sacked. Saw the clip of the fans sort of shouting at him, but things. That's a patience thing. I think it's too early to call on him. It's too early to call. I think you've got to give him a little bit more time. They're not in a great position, but let's be honest, Cheltenham, let's just stay in the league. He's not the new Michael Duff. I think that's probably quite evident, but things can change, and maybe he might turn to be maybe something like that. Of course, there's a lot of doubt around it, but I don't know. MK Dons, they won their last match. Before that, pretty dismal. Surprise win against Chelsea, we just mentioned it. 13 points from 15 games isn't good enough, and it's nowhere near the level of performance and results they got last season. But I still feel that squad's really good, and Liam Mann's a really good manager. And if he is what the poll is saying, I think the poll is still running, isn't it? 57% of people, 40% of people think that it's going to be MK Dons' Liam Manning that gets set now. 41%, 28 now say Carl Robinson. It hasn't actually gone the way I thought it would. Liam Manning to Carl Robinson, then to Darren Moore. Even though Liam Manning got a really good result against Charlton, will that be enough? That's not going to keep his job, is it? But if he can sort of get a bit of rhythm, a bit of momentum from that result, you never know. Things can change, and keep saying that. That's the quote. How many times I've said things can change? Things will potentially. Improve after that result. That could be a springboard. It might not be, but it could be. And if it is, then they'll use it as that. I'm going to let's have a look at the odds really quickly. I think Cheltenham will probably be favourites. They are, but only by 5%. Quite tight. Home advantage playing a part in that. 40% to 35%. I'm going to go with a Cheltenham win here. No, I'm not going to go draw. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go 1-1. Sitting on the fence. Which is something that we all understand is not always the most favourable thing to do. But I'm going to sit on the fence like someone that can't make a call. And I think it will be a draw. I think it will be. And really, for both sides, Cheltenham will probably be the happier with that. MK Dons will want to get a win from the game, of course. Right, let's go to the final three, I think we are now. Got Fleetwood to go. Done that. So it'll be Fleetwood, Wycombe, Bolton to go. Fleetwood against Accrington, Stanley. Fleetwood still sort of last four, not great. 8 draws though. They're drawing a lot of games of football. This is the problem. When you draw a lot of games of football, then you want to run like they are at the moment when they're losing a couple. You slip down quite quickly. Draws are really good if you can back them up with wins, because you sort of go, right, there's something that's a real base there. You start losing some games, you slowly sort of slip down the table. And it's not really the position that Scott Brown would want to be right now. A lot of promise, certainly a lot of improvement. But 17th, a little bit nervy. Accrington, 16 points from those 19 games. John Coleman, of course, experienced manager at Accrington. He knows exactly what it takes to get himself out of a bit of a rut they find themselves on. 4 consecutive defeats for them. That's going to be a problem, and that is a little bit of a concern. I imagine he will be worried, but he's not worried to the extent that he doesn't know how to get out of the issue, because he's done it time and time before. Sort of two sides with expectations to sort of be around mid-table. So they could maybe sneak into the top 10, sneak into the top 12. You never know. At the moment, then both sides not in great form. I don't expect it to be a brilliant game of football. I think it's two sides that sort of need to get back on track and need to put their bad form behind them, and that could make it a different kind of encounter. Fleetwood 44% chance of winning, Accrington 31%, Fleetwood 46%, specifically Accrington 36%. It does see the home side Fleetwood the favourites. I'm going to go with a Fleetwood win here actually, which is, again, he's going towards the odds slightly, but I think the draw is probably going to be quite close and quite a favourable prediction. Give me your thoughts between those two sides. Got the live chat up here. I can go through your thoughts. Who is going to win the game between? We just lost the game then. That's not ideal. Who is going to win the game in that one? I think we will see. I think we will see a home win, which, to be honest with you, is not what a lot of people would expect. I'd say that. I think Accrington, a lot of people will probably see them potentially getting something from that game. I think that, I don't know, something tells me I think they're in a position where, at the moment, Fleetwood are probably in a good place to go and win that game. But you never know. Things can happen that you don't expect, as we always know in this league. 2-2 says Brandon. Interesting. 2-2. Draw, draw will probably be the favourite, like I say, but I think Fleetwood might edge it. Is that controversial? It probably is. Right, let's go to the final two, the penultimate game of the roundup. We sort of missed a few recently. They got a little bit of stick for it, so let's make sure we're not missing any. I don't think we are. If we go back there, we did do Ipswich Charlton, did we? We didn't, did we? We didn't do it. We still got to do that. We didn't do that. We haven't done it yet, have we? We've got 3 to go. Right, Wycombe versus Morecambe. Let's go. Wycombe versus Morecambe. Bottom of the league, Morecambe 24th. Wycombe 13th in the league. They're not in a great position. Last game was frustrating, of course, losing at home to Cambridge United. They were hoping that they will not want to be losing this game at home against a side that really are struggling. 8 defeats for Morecambe from those 15 games, 5 draws and 2 defeats. As for Wycombe, only 7 games, so only one difference when it comes to games lost, but they won more. They won 6 games. They've drawn 2. 20 goals scored, 20 goals conceded. Recent form, a little bit hot and cold, but generally Wycombe's is better. 3 wins from the last 5. As for Morecambe, 3 defeats from their last 5 as well. In terms of those odds, Wycombe 65% chance of winning, Morecambe 17%. Does see Wycombe heavy favourites for this fixture. We know the quality of them at home. Even though they couldn't show it against Cambridge United in their last game, I still think they've got enough to get through it. Sam Folkes will be that focal point. He's going to be that real number 9 of real strong ability, hold up play. He can also, of course, finish his dinner fairly well. He's not a bad striker at this level. They've got other players, Joe Jacobson, as we mentioned earlier. Ryan Tavazzoli, I believe, is still out injured, so that's going to be interesting to see if we think he's still out injured. We don't know, but he's also a really good centre back who will command that back line. Give your predictions for that game. That'd be amazing, and I'll read them out. For some reason, I'm not being able to see the live chat, which is a little bit annoying, but we'll move on and you can give your thoughts. A little bit of delay, I expect, on that one. Right, let's go to, we've done that one, that's not the right weekend. Let's go to Charlton versus Ipswich. Let's go to Charlton versus Ipswich Town. Big game this, Ipswich second in the league. Also, their form isn't too bad, is it? 4 wins from their last 5. They did lose their game in there. A surprise defeat at home to Port Vale, at Lincoln City. But I still back Ipswich to be a phenomenal side with a great squad of players. Charlton currently 8th in the league. Disappointing result against MK Dons. No one thought they'd lose that game. We sort of delved into it, so we won't touch on it again. But that's frustrating for them. And frustrating defeat at home. Then go to Portman Road. It's not going to be easy, is it? Going back to the Valley. At least, sorry, I got that wrong. It's at the Valley. It's not going to be easy. But I still think they've got that. They've got that rhythm, and they've also got that proof that they can play really good football, Charm, because we saw it. I saw it against Exeter. We've seen it in recent weeks. But again, don't let that be a derail, Charlton. That's my message to them, and I'm sure Ben Garner will be the same. Don't let that derail the season. The red card played a big factor, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can get anything from the game against Ipswich. The home game, which does help them out, but Ipswich, you can't deny their quality, certainly there, and the players they've got are very, very talented, and they'll make it an absolute challenge for them, no doubt. The actual form is pretty much not the same, but it's similar. The difference is Ipswich won a game that Charlton did draw in their last 5. In terms of their last fixture, like we mentioned there, it's 2-0, and of course it was a 3-2 win against Port Vale, but a disappointing 1-0 defeat against Lincoln at home. Not many people thought that would be the case, but it was. And that's football, isn't it? That's football. Anything can happen, and Port Vale, I keep saying Port Vale because Port Vale are getting some good results away from home. Lincoln City, who are also getting some good points away from home, they did a really good job. Charlton, 26% chance of winning, Ipswich 51%, so it does see Kieran McKenna's side the favourites, 47%, 13% to Charlton. I could see a draw, actually. I'm going to go 2-2. It's going to frustrate a couple of Ipswich Town fans, potentially. Maybe some Charlton fans maybe think they can win this game. But I think Ipswich probably will be the favourites. I'm going to go 2-2. I can see a high-scoring game. 2 goals apiece in that one. 2-2. I was going to try and change it there and try and go against what I first thought. But no, I'm going to go 2-2. I'm happy with that. Right then, the final game. Save the best till last. Bolton against Oxford United. Charlton 1, Ipswich Town 2. McKenna is at the wheel. 1-1. Do not write Charlton off playing at home, exactly. The only reason why I say that maybe not is because they lost their last game. As a bottom fan, it's an interesting match. Bolton win 1-0 against Oxford United. It's going to be interesting, mate. It certainly is. It's time to break it down and look ahead really quite in detail. Bolton 5th in the league. Oxford, scroll down a little bit more, unfortunately. 20th. Just outside that relegation zone. 2 points from that bottom 4. We have got a game in hand, so is that a positive? I guess it is. But look, all jokes aside, really good result for Oxford, you'd say, against Portsmouth on Tuesday, and one that not many people at all expected, especially in the Oxford United fan base. I think we all thought that was a game that was pretty much game set and match towards Pompey. I think that was fair, pretty fair way of looking at it. Brandon's 4-1 Bolton Oxford red card. Yeah, discipline recently hasn't been good. And that, talking of discipline and the red card is a good point. That game ultimately I think was lost for Oxford against Portsmouth when Billy Bowden made a stupid challenge. We haven't got Matty Taylor, we haven't got Billy Bowden, we haven't got our manager on the sidelines either. He's got a touchline ban, Carl Robinson. So look, we're against the odds again, and we're backs against the wall, and we play the backs against the wall mentality against Pompey. It's not the way that we normally like to try and play. We like to try and be quite a forward-thinking, possession, dominating side, but we're in a bad run of form, and when bad run hits you, have to try and adapt the way you play and approach different games. I think that's probably a key way of looking at it between these two sides. Bolton's last 3 games have been really good, and the last 2 in particular have ended up in a really positive shape. They're still in that top 6, and the aim to get out of this league for them is certainly looking it's in a good place at the moment, isn't it? But of course, there's a long way to go, and they haven't got that game in hand, and they could potentially go fourth with it. A little bit inconsistent before their last 3 games, but those last 2 have been really promising, and they've been able to really kick on. Brilliant win against Accrington Stanley, wasn't it? Was it a 3-2 they won that game? What a game that was. And the limbs in the away end were exceptional. I watched the goals back; they look really quite really quite good. And Burton. They won 2-1, but we understand Burton got a little bit of stick for the way they maybe approached it. A quick look back at the poll. Very, very close now. Very, very close. Liam had 38% chance of winning. Carlton 31%. Carlton are nearly now the favourites to get sacked. Interesting. That is fascinating. Oxford not playing that game Oxford not play that good this season. No, Joseph, we're really not playing that well this season. First time watching it live, really enjoying it. Mike, thank you so much. It's been a little bit of a mess, Mike. If you think it's been a little bit up and down, Mike, to be honest with you, we had a little bit of late start, a little bit all over the shop, but I'm glad you are enjoying it. Bolton, best defence in League One. Oxford, no recognised striker, 1-0. Yeah, we haven't got a recognised striker, David. You're right. We might go Joseph up there. We might go the Donker again, but you are right. Whoever we play there, it's not an established League One striker who's scoring goals. I still don't think the top 2 will stay in that position come the end of the season. Plymouth and Ipswich, no, I can see Ipswich in that top 2, and probably Plymouth, but I don't know about Plymouth winning the league. I don't know. My prediction of this game, then, is what people want to hear. Oh, it's tough. It's not nice, is it? It's similar to Portsmouth, really. My stance doesn't change. I still think that Portsmouth will be. The Portsmouth game is going to be a little bit of a indication how this game might go. We're going to play similar to that, I expect. I'm going to go. My heart's saying 1-1. I take a point again. It doesn't help us really in terms of our league position, but look. Away to Pompey, away to Bolton, back-to-back is not nice. If we come away with 2 points in those games, you probably do take it, but it does mean we lost to Peterborough, so we then take 2 points, a possible 9, which isn't very good. So we have to win the game, really. If we want to sort of have a really good sort of last bulk of 3 in terms of points tally, or a good points tally, then a 3 points is massive, but I don't see it. What's happened to a striker this season? Matty Taylor. He's not been very. He hasn't been scoring goals. He got sent off the other day through pretty much pure petulance. My team suddenly is dropping off now in the Championship. Just I do remember you from last season. I did see the league table. You started very well. Lost Michael O'Neill, didn't you? And then that wasn't great, was it? That wasn't great because he was a very key factor in you getting up, and him going to Stoke wasn't ideal. Good draw at Portsmouth, though, so you never know Oxford, but they need to win so they get some good form going. Yeah, that's the problem. We need to win. I can't see it. I'm going to go the 1-1 draw. I take it. Bolton are going to definitely be the favourites. Have a little quick look at the odds. Yeah, 49% towards Bolton, 29% towards Oxford. They are the favourites, but of course they're going to be the favourites. I don't expect them not to be. I'm going to go with Bolton to draw the game with Oxford United, but you never know. You simply never know. That's a little bit of Alex Neil. Who did I say? I'm not quite sure what I said. I said a different manager, didn't I? You mean lost Alex Neil? That's who I meant to say. I don't know who I said. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Unfan Podcast. Been a little bit all over shop today, but I think it was a really interesting stream. Good to catch up with people and catch up with everyone in here. Of course, done a lot of live recorded stuff sort of recently, so to speak to a couple of people, speak to everyone live is always really nice. And we'll speak soon. If you haven't left a like, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, also do that as well. Just hit 3,400 subscribers, which is amazing. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. I've been Jack. This has been the Unfan Podcast. Have a good weekend. Good luck.